What's up guys, I'm Maria, welcome to Cine Club. So I went to see Maleficent a couple of weeks ago, and one of the trailers was the teaser from the new Cinderella movie that will come out in 2015, which seems like it's going to be a live-action movie. So after seeing the trailer and seeing Maleficent, I got to thinking about all the Disney movies I grew up with, watching them religiously until I knew every single line of dialogue in that movie. And then I thought how cool it is that all the movies that I grew up watching and loving are now being turned into more complex, layered stories that I can still get excited about even as an adult. So in this video, I thought I could give you a little list of my 5 favorite Disney stories that I think would make amazing live-action movies. So one of the first movies I thought about when making this list was Aladdin. Aladdin's story is not a new story, it's very classic, it's a very well-known tale from 1001 Nights. It was very colorful, it was iconic, the music was great, it was a great comedy on Disney's part. But if anybody ever decides to make Aladdin into a live-action movie, I would really like it if they decide to go just a little bit darker with the story. Not so dark in the sense that there wouldn't be any quirks or humor to the story, but definitely something more realistic. I would love to see Aladdin be portrayed as that despised thief that he's actually supposed to be in the cartoon movie, but he's kind of cute and he's like smart alecky, and you don't really get the sense that this guy really is a street rat as they keep mentioning. If he were shown as a little tougher and rough around the edges and maybe hardened by the street life that he lives, I think that would play really interesting later when he fixates on the princess, and even better when time passes and he cleans up and then you can actually believe that nobody recognizes him. Because one thing I don't like about the cartoon version is that it just seems to happen in a couple of days, and at one point Jasmine thinks he has been executed, but then he comes back as this prince and she doesn't even recognize him, and it doesn't seem like much time has passed that she wouldn't remember who he is. So I would love if they would still keep the same trajectory of the story, but maybe years have passed and she has forgotten who he is and she thought he was dead, and then he comes back as the disguised prince and she doesn't recognize him and nobody remembers him. I think it would still be very interesting, and I would just love to see a tougher Aladdin as opposed to like the cutesy, goofy kid. I think Aladdin has potential to become a great live-action drama movie while still maintaining that mysterious, exotic factor that made it so unique at that time. My second choice for a Disney live-action movie would be The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Notre Dame, you know what I mean. I remember The Hunchback being one of the darkest Disney movies I saw as a kid. I just remember it being very heavy in general and not being as openly funny as the other Disney movies, but at the same time, I really liked that story. The movie is of course based on Victor Hugo's novel, and there have been many adaptations throughout the years, but I think the most recent one, live action I mean, was also set in the 90s. I think it's one of those stories that you can keep adapting and remaking and people will still enjoy it. I mean, it's Victor Hugo, come on. And considering that it's actually very well-known literature, I think it makes more sense for it to be a live action movie and not animated. I think it was a very bold move from Disney to take on this story. I think the dark themes and the gothic style could have easily put off many of the kids, but it wasn't the case. I remember really enjoying it. They did a great job and the characters were very different from each other and just very memorable. Even Frollo as the villain is one of those villains you just love to hate. I also remember the movie was really visually striking for the time, the bells, the way they just captured the cathedral in general. I remember that very clearly, and I think if they can take that to the present, and I'm sure they can, while keeping the tone of the story, it would make a great live-action movie. Now for my third choice, is not my favorite Disney movie, but it's one of those movies that I always watch and still feel like it was quite nice, and that one is Brave. Even though it's not my favorite, I have a very soft spot for Brave, and especially the character of Merida, the first and possibly the only princess so far that had no desire to be married and had no problem saying she just wasn't ready for it. But I think the end result of this movie wasn't as satisfying as everybody thought it would be. It had a very interesting premise that just sort of fizzled halfway, and the story didn't really go anywhere. That being said, I still think the story of Brave has a lot of potential, especially with the backstory of the Broken Kingdoms in Scotland, and then they added some mythical elements and some magic, and altogether I think it could really result in a very interesting movie. I really like the character of Merida. I like her stubbornness, I like her independence, I love the fact that she's an archer, and I love that the king, her father, encourages it. I would like to see her as the figure in the center of this whole war that maybe unites the kingdoms in the end. Maybe she's the warrior princess, I don't know. Even though the movie wasn't as great as people thought it would be, I think people really liked Merida as a princess. Her struggles and wishes are far more real than, say, the struggles of Sleeping Beauty. She has these issues with her mother of acceptance, she doesn't feel understood, she doesn't feel like her mother can let her be who she is, while at the same time trying to retain her independence and not being married off to someone she doesn't love. She's already quite a human character in comparison to the other Disney princesses, and I think the leap into a live-action movie would be therefore more seamless than other movies. My fourth choice in this list would have to be The Little Mermaid. As a kid, I used to love Ariel. I think she was one of the coolest and prettiest princesses of the Disney movies. But as I grew up, I felt like Ariel was one of the most annoying ones because she literally gives up her own voice just so she can be close to the guy she likes. But the more I think about it, the more I feel like Ariel is one of the most go-getter female characters in all of the Disney movies. She is constantly shaping her fate to the way she wants it to be. She's never waiting for anyone to go get what she wants, even if it means to become human or if it means to go and look for Eric. She's constantly breaking the rules and following her heart. But more importantly, the premise and the setting for Little Mermaid is what can make a really great movie, because it is the humans against the creatures of the sea, and that could be so cool. I would love to see a movie where both kingdoms know that each other exists. The sea kingdom knows about the humans and they don't trust them, and the human kingdom knows about the sea kingdom and they want to take control of the oceans. Basically, there's bad blood between the two kingdoms, and they have a treaty that makes it clear that they can't cross each other or there will be war. And then comes curious Ariel dying to be part of the human world and not knowing what the dangerous implications can be. And maybe Ursula is still the villain, but maybe Ursula is the one who wants to take control both of the sea and the land, and that would be really awesome too. I want this movie to be made so much. Like, it has to happen. Somebody has to think that this is a good idea. Don't leave me hanging. This is a good idea. I think it would be great. I think if you still keep Ariel as the main character and maybe there is some kind of Romeo and Juliet thing going on between her and Eric, that would be cool, but that's not the main focus. It would be, you know, the huge battle between these two worlds and how they can make that happen. I would love that. Somebody please make that happen. The last but not least that I need to see as a live action movie is Mulan. If I had to pick, Mulan is definitely my top choice for sure. Because you know what? Before people were blabbering away about how Frozen is the first Disney movie that says that women don't need a man to be great, Mulan was a warrior female character, kicking butt and saving all of China without needing some boyfriend by her side. Take that, Frozen fans. If there was ever a strong female character in a Disney movie, it's Mulan. She's kick-ass, she's funny, she's different in every way. If you're in your mid-20s and you're a big Disney fan, I'm pretty sure that you love Mulan as much as I do. Because the story of Mulan is so much bigger than saying, I don't need romance to be a great person. Mulan's story does have a love story, but it's in the back burner. It's not about that. What's so great about Mulan is that it tells you that just because people think you don't fit into what society wants you to be, does not mean you won't do amazing things. Mulan didn't fit into the categories of what a woman should be in this movie, and she turns out to be even bigger and even more wonderful than anybody could have imagined. And I think that's a much bigger and more positive message than just saying, oh, you don't need a guy to have a happy ending. This story has much more substance. And that's something that I would love to see be translated into a live action movie. Also, if someone's ever gonna make Mulan, and I really hope they do, I hope they don't make a Western version of it. I am dying to see a Chinese movie with the English subtitles telling the story of Mulan. I don't want Megan Fox playing Mulan. God, please no. I want the real deal, and I think it could be incredible. I think the battle scenes could be incredible. I think the training part of it could be great when she's hiding and pretending to be a man and actually seeing all the effort that would take from her. I love it. Somebody do it. Please, I'm begging you, sometime soon. Mulan. So guys, those are my top 5 Disney movies that should be turned into live action movies. Tell me which movies did I miss that you would love to see on the big screen with your favorite actors. There's another few that I would love to see, but they've been done very recently and they haven't been done correctly. So please tell me all your answers in the comment section down below. I would love to read them. But guys, that's everything for this chatty episode of Cine Club. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and I hope you enjoyed this list as much as I enjoyed talking to you about it. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That is always appreciated. If you really like this video, go ahead and share it with someone who's also a big Disney fan. If you'd like to see more of this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I got a new movie review every week for you, and sometimes I make these kind of chatty videos about different movie topics. But guys, that's everything for today. I do hope you have a great week, and I will see you on our next movie date or movie talk. Bye. A Million Ways to Die in the West. Directed, written, starring Seth MacFarlane. You know that guy, right? The guy who created Family Guy, the guy who's Peter, Brian, Stewie, the guy who created American Dad, and the best cartoon character ever to be created, Roger.